Hey, it's Brian Sebastian. We're live with Movie Reviews and More on Adrenaline Radio. Today's guest, Angela Ellefson. I gotta get that right. I like that name. Vanessa Garcia-Schindler. Victor Garcia.
Yeah, always Victor Garcia.
And we have Debbie Lynn Elias calling in pretty soon. Hi, Debbie. She's not here yet.
She can hear us. Hi, Debbie.
Yeah, she's probably making fun of us.
She's probably laughing, yeah.
Anyhow, until Debbie calls in, we're going to be talking about a couple things coming up. The latest movie's coming out. I'm going to leave that to her because we'd be stealing her thunder. And she wouldn't like that.
No, you don't want to steal. You can't steal Debbie's thunder. What are you talking about?
This is true. You can't do that. Anyhow, it's Labor Day weekend. We are live worldwide. We have Vanessa here and Angela here, and you guys are friends. Mm-hmm. And we also have a couple paintings in the back too. Let's talk about those while we have the opportunity and the chance.
Well, I'm an artist among many different things that I do, and art is one of my passions, one of my outlets. So I grew up with horses. I have a couple minis with me in my house, and so when I need to escape reality, I get into La La Land, and I basically close my eyes and visualize a horse and a moment and a feeling, and I put it to work. These are both pastels, and I had never worked with pastels before. A friend of mine kind of introduced me to them. She goes, "Oh, here." So I was watching TV one day, and I started playing with them in the charcoal and everything. Oh God, this is amazing. I can paint with my fingers and it moves, and it was just so that first one, the white one right above you, Victor, that was the first one I ever did.
This one?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So and that was the second one, the one with the two horses there, and I have many more, and every time that I did one, I taught myself something different. I learned how to maybe get the charcoal wet or use a toothpick or do things and
to refine your art.
So I just kind of progressed with each one.
Oh, that's great.
So,
see, you have many talents, which is great when it comes to things like this. And I was just thinking of horses in movies too. Mm-hmm. But continue.
I love this particular.
I love
horse.
this one too.
This particular horse.
That one's called Love. I just, I try to bring emotion in each piece that I do, and I wanted to show this bit of tenderness and this bit of love that that you see with the stallion nudging up to the mare right there. That one above up there just means power. I just wanted to show strength and power. And
the veins and remarking that. Yeah, horses are very emotional creatures. You just sit there and stare at them, and they communicate all their emotions straight to you.
They're just such an amazing, a magical animal. They really are.
Of horses. Recently, we were at that polo match.
That's right.
And we saw a bunch of. There was such a playful horse there.
And she's going.
Oh yeah, he was tugging on his own string, and he was just having a ball pulling on that string, trying to get himself loose. So he was just playing around. He was the happiest little horse in the entire bunch.
And we have to say we're all animal lovers, which is a good thing too.
Mm-hmm.
So, but she has those two, and she has one in behind also. And when I went to your house, I'm like, these are great paintings. They have to be seen.
Oh, thank you. Well, this one is acrylic. I had this old canvas sitting there, and I wanted to do something a little different. I live next to the ocean. I wanted to capture a little bit of the blues and just that feeling. And I kind of try and do a little bit of a twist on my work. And I pride myself on creating artwork that just comes out of my mind. And usually it's when I'm staying up all night. I have to have no distractions. I put some relaxing music on. I usually listen to classical or I love American Indian music. And it just puts me into this world that I create in my mind, and that's where I try to capture onto the canvas. So I never had any lessons. My mother was an amazing artist, and my great-great-great-grandmother, she said, was a famous artist, Rosa Bonheur, the horse fair hanging in the Met in New York. And I think that's just in my blood. My family, all my sisters, my brother is a phenomenal artist.
We got to get his art in here next.
Oh, he's amazing artist.
You know, the funny thing is, I can see and hear people saying, well, what does this got to do with movies? Well, art, movies, and everything, the neighborhood that you live with, you have a bunch of celebrity neighbors who are in the business, obviously, and they all go to your house, which is quite interesting.
Debbie be calling
but it's one of those things where, we will get into horses and movies when we come back. But anyhow, we have our good friend Debbie Lynn Elias on from moviesharkdeblure.com. Hi,
Hello,
Debbie.
boys.
How are you?
I am very excited to be here again this weekend, a holiday weekend, and we've got some really eclectic and wonderful films that are opening. And first one I have to bring up for all of my TCM fans out there,
I'm one of them,
all of the Errol Flynn fans, is The Last of Robin Hood.
Oh, what an excellent movie.
This is, you've got Kevin Kline starring as Errol Flynn in the last 2 years of his life. The film is based on a quote-unquote biopic done by Flo Adland, who was the mother of the last love of Errol Flynn's life, an underage 15-year-old girl that he was destined to, he claimed he was going to marry, and then he suffered a massive heart attack, and he died. The mother went on to write an expose that has now been turned into this film. But the reason to see this film is not for any salacious or fabricated details. It is for Kevin Kline's performance as Errol Flynn. He is so mesmerizing. You forget this is Kevin Kline portraying Errol Flynn.
Absolutely.
He has the voice, the mannerisms, the nuance. You think you are looking at Errol Flynn. Stunning performance. And then Susan Sarandon as the show business mother from hell just dominates as well. So this is something all classic movie fans will love, Kevin Kline fans will love, and I can't recommend it highly enough. It does have a few flaws, technically. Trying to go for a Technicolor 50s look didn't quite, succeed on that level. But this is for performance. That's what you need to see.
And it's still an entertaining movie, regardless. I loved it.
Beyond, to see Kevin Kline actually immersing and embodying Errol Flynn with the patented moves and some of the swashbuckling that we've all come to know and love over the generations. It's a fabulous, fabulous film, and I can't recommend it highly enough for those reasons. But then we got a rather criminal theme going on this weekend, and I know a couple of these films you guys are really hot about too. Starting with The November Man.
Oh,
Love
yes.
that movie.
My old Remington Steel pal, Pierce Brosnan, is back. He is tougher than steel. He is better than Bond. It is brains over gizmos and gadgets. Wonderful action film for the mature, aging spy who is now burnished to a fine patina. Brosnan reteams with Roger Donaldson, who directed him in Dante's Peak.
Yep.
The film is based on Bill Granger's Cold War spy thriller, There Are No Spies. And for many of us that have gone through Granger's works and the November Man series, it's actually 12 or 13 books. This one is book number 7 in the printed series. And since we've got a long weekend, there's no reason people can't see the movie and read the book.
It's funny. I kept looking at this through, I was trying to look at it through a woman's eyes, because it's Pierce.
You're admiring Pierce.
Well, women like Pierce, right?
Well, the guy, seeing him in person during that junket we were all at, the guy's, oh my God, he's refined beauty. The guy's amazing looking. You can't say anything about his looks. The guy is top notch.
Yeah.
I'm
He's
serious.
one of those guys. He was fantastic when we worked together on Remington Steel over 30 years ago now. And he has just aged beautifully.
Yeah.
His attitude, his personality, though, he's the real deal. He is a genuine guy that comes across. And here, with what he brings to his performance, and let's not leave out the gorgeous Olga Kurylenko.
Oh.
Ooh, yeah.
Olga, many people first got a glimpse of her, if you weren't familiar with her work in modeling or in foreign films, first saw her in Centurion with Michael Fassbender, half naked, freezing in the cold in the Alps. She spoke no English at the time. Since that time, her English, as you guys know, is impeccable. We have seen her team up in action films as a bad guy against Aaron Eckhart in Erased a couple years ago. Now she's here with Pierce.
And she did an excellent job, too.
Amazing job. Absolutely amazing job. And then relative newcomer Luke Bracey.
Oh, yes, yep. Women will
Yeah.
like Luke.
He's steely, he's icy. But there are moments he feels like a kid wearing dad's suit.
Well, that's only compared to Pierce.
And it doesn't quite fit. What, Brian?
No, I said it was only compared to Pierce. I mean, the kid held his own, but I mean, you got to understand who he's partnered up with in this one. It's seasoned veteran actor.
And to a degree, it works in the role. But then, getting a little more larcenous, we go into a life of crime. Now, did you guys get to see that?
No, I missed that one.
Yeah, that was Roadside Attractions. We didn't get a chance to watch this one yet.
All right, Life of Crime, and I have to say, out of the box, Jennifer Aniston, one of the executive producers. This is her fifth or sixth project she's exec produced. Her first one was management a few years ago. This is Jennifer's bailiwick as a producer, and she also stars in the film. But her imprint is all over this film. She has a keen eye. She has a keen eye for the below-the-line artisans. She's got a great eye for talent. She brings a lot of the same people she's worked with before. Eric Edwards, cinematography. Mind-blowing. It is light, it is fresh, it is clean. This is it's written and directed by Dan Schechter. It is his first directorial, and it's based on Elmore Leonard's book, The Switch.
Oh, that's right,
Now, if The Switch sounds familiar, it's because Jennifer Aniston starred with Jason Bateman in a film a couple years ago called The Switch, which is not the same thing, which is why the title of this film was changed to Life of Crime. The overall cast, in addition to Aniston, you've got Tim Robbins, who is mind-bogglingly hilarious as her put-upon husband, he's a real estate developer. He's got something on the side. He's a little bit crooked. He's a little bit con. And then we have two bumbling, but yet lovable crooks, Lewis and Ordell, played by John Hawkes in Mos Def. They get this scheme, this great scheme to kidnap
a great actor.
Jennifer Aniston's character, Mickey, and hold her for ransom without knowing that husband really isn't going to pay $1 million to get his wife back because he really doesn't care.
Isn't this film have been made before? I mean, I saw Ruthless People with Bette Midler and Danny DeVito, and almost the exact same premise, isn't it?
It's kind of along the same lines, but this is the first adaptation of Leonard's book.
Oh, directly.
This is, and where Dan Schechter excels here is he keeps the wit, the dialogue, so much of this that is pure Elmore Leonard, that makes him. It is one of the most faithful adaptations to the source material of all of the Leonard works. And the dialogue is stylized, the timing is impeccable, and you are immersed. It is visually stunning. Production design is magnificent. And you feel like you are in 1970s Detroit. It's a fun film that has so many red herrings and twists and turns that by the end of the film, there is a twist there that will have you busting a gut laughing.
Ooh. Now I have to go see this.
You have to see this. But, and also talking about laughing, what was yesterday? National Ghostbusters Day.
Oh, that's
30th anniversary Ghostbusters.
We've got Ghostbusters popping back into theaters on a limited basis for the 30th anniversary.
Everyone has to go back to be able to say they went to the theater and watched Ghostbusters on the big screen. I don't care how many times you've seen it. It's a rare treat to have a movie like this come back to the screen, so everyone needs to go out and watch it.
Oh,
I saw it when it first premiered.
Oh, my God.
30 years ago.
Such an honor.
And it never ceases to make me laugh, no matter what mood I'm in. It's the kind of movie you can always go back to, and it's one of the hallmarks of comedy. And that is very limited. It may only be around in some theaters for the weekend.
Yeah.
So get thee to a theater if you want to check that out. And then we've got two smaller films here. One is May in the Summer, done by American-Jordanian Tyrion Davis. It's a wonderful, summery kind of film. She plays a sister named May. She has two other sisters. She's getting married. She goes back to her mother's home in Jordan for the wedding. There's a lot of foibles and comedy, sibling rivalry, issues of religion, interfaith marriage, cross-culture, sexual identity, sibling rivalry. High points are it's shot completely in Jordan and actually on and in the Dead Sea. Some of that is just wonderful to watch. And then, of course, you've got Bill Pullman popping in here as Dad.
And the interesting thing about that is we got to say this because I didn't know it until I met her.
Oh, that's right.
She directed this.
Yeah.
She wrote and directed.
And she did a wonderful job when I found out that she did that. I had no idea.
She wrote, directed, and stars in it.
Yeah.
And her prior film was Amrika, which took the world by storm.
That's great.
And then she's also got an upcoming TV series she's working on.
Yeah.
Wow. She's going to become one of those powerful women in Hollywood.
Women
Fantastic.
power. We love you guys.
Darian Davis, she is a force to be reckoned with. And then we have a film that I think is absolutely pure genius and brilliant, The Congress.
Oh, yes. Oh my God, I didn't even know that opened.
It opens today. Written and directed by Ari Folman, based on the novel by Stanislaw Lem. I will see anything based on Stanislaw Lem. And Folman, you all may know, previously did Waltz with Bashir, which got Academy recognition a few years ago.
Yep.
This is a blend of live action and animation, and it posits very interesting theories in today's society, not just about Hollywood, but about society in general. Robin Wright stars as herself, and Hollywood, and she's aging. And so many actresses face this all the time. They're aging, their looks are fading. Will they ever get work again?
And it goes into to women. Unfortunately, society puts that pressure on them.
That's exactly it. And what they do here within this script is the studio head, Jeff Green, played by Danny Houston, of all people. Very imposing, and dare I say it, has a kind of Harvey Weinstein kind of persona to him. But the studio head says, hey, look, we want to capitalize on you, so why don't you sign this contract and agree to be scanned by a computer, your body and your emotions, into a virtual computer. You disappear, and we will just keep plugging your image into everything for the rest of your life.
We got about 15 seconds, Deb. What else you have?
So, the Congress, definitely need to see that. Last Robin Hood, May in the Summer, Life of Crime, November Man. And then next week, I won't be here because I'm going to be doing a super secret thing with Disney that the kids are going to love in the coming week.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear about that.
Next week, you need to put on your radar one of my top picks of the year, God Help the Girl. Stuart Murdoch of the Scottish pop group Belle and Sebastian. It is his writing, directing debut. It is truly a magnificent, fun film.
All right, that's Debbie Lynn Elias. And don't forget to check out our website.
That's right.
moviesharkdeblore.com.
And then I'm on Twitter at MovieSharkD.
That's
All
right.
Okay, guys, I'll talk to you later.
Thank you, Debbie.
Bye, Debbie.
Bye.
This is Movie Reviews and More. I'm Brian Sebastian. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about what Debbie just talked about, and then we're going to go into Angela and back to Vanessa. We'll be right back. All right. We are back. Movie Reviews and More, live worldwide. And we were just talking to Debbie about the new releases, November Man, As Above, So Below, the 30th anniversary of Ghostbusters, Life of Crime. I like The Notebook. And there was one other movie that she talked about. Oh, Robin Hood, The Last Robin Hood, with Kevin Kline. There's one more with, but I'll remember it later. I know I will. We wouldn't go into Angela. Angela was here last week. And it was good to have you here last week, too.
Thank you. It was good to be here.
Talk about fitness, talk about movies, talk about being a mom and your daughter. Because it goes back into movies, fitness, and women.
That's
powerful women. I always want powerful women on the show. You guys are really important.
That's right. So I'm training for a fitness figure competition. My first competition was in April. And I actually coached myself that time. So this time I've hired a coach. I placed third in the regionals in the LA competition. So I wanted to try my hand at it again. I'm a trainer, both private trainer and Group X trainer, as well as a mother and wife. So I just always keeping the ball rolling, doing something to keep myself busy and active. Love the active lifestyle. Love leading by example for my daughter. And now I love competing. So it's a newfound love.
How tough is all that to do? That was a handful just you saying it.
Yeah,
almost impossible.
It is. It's one of those things that you have to have the right, I think, personality and just outlook for it.
Yeah.
And just, you have to want it. So, I think the hardest thing is finding, because it takes a lot of focus, dividing my focus. When I'm with my daughter and husband, my focus is 100% there. And then when I'm training, time is limited. If I'm training myself, I know I have to go in there and just kind of do it and go hard and mean it. So my training is pretty grueling. And then I also train other people, as well. So dividing my time, focusing on what I'm doing each day, each hour, just using my time wisely, I guess.
Is there a particular movie, because I think we all have that movie that drives us, is there a particular movie that you've watched that drives you fitness-wise?
Well, do you know what's weird? I love sci-fi. I love all the Matrix, movies. That sounds funny. I love them. And then I also mentioned I love a lot of the older martial arts movies too, like the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, just the aesthetics of the moving. And I used to love I got into Muay Thai and
one of the most brutal martial arts there are.
I love it. I actually met my husband at a Muay Thai gym, so that's kind of, that's our thing. We still go home. That's good
for him.
Yeah, good for him. That's right. Yeah, so we still have our time at home where we'll watch our movies and we'll hit pads for each other. One will hold, one will hit. And it's one of the great dynamics of our relationship is that we always go back to that, whether it's in a movie or it's us training together at home alone. So,
did you ever see the film Ong Bak? With Tony Jaa? No, it's the best Muay Thai
You saw it?
movie.
Ong Bak?
Wasn't that great?
Absolutely.
Ong Bak, Ongbak.
Okay.
Tony
Must
Jaa.
watch.
It's an amazing film. It's an amazing film.
As you were talking, I was thinking of like the Grandmaster.
Oh, or like Ip Man or
Ip Man.
Oh, I
like
Ip
Ip Man.
Oh, Ip Man is great.
I loved Ip Man when Donnie Yen portrayed him in that recent film. They had like 2 or 3 others.
I think they had 3.
3 different versions of 3 different actors playing it, but I loved it when it was Donnie Yen. He just did amazing.
There's only one Donnie Yen, isn't
There's
there?
only one Donnie Yen, yeah.
So we'll watch movies, once in a while. Now we have Netflix, so it's it's really limited. I've actually went through the queue recently, and I wish there was a little bit more. But now it's tough to find those movies because, now there's Netflix and there's Redbox, so you don't get to choose anymore.
You get what I offer you, plain and simple. And that's what I like about.
I know. Well, and now I'm a mom, so that's shifted too. That's another thing. What I'm watching is now filtered during the day, and if I do get my downtime at night, I'm not watching as much as I'd like to,
That's how it is.
Talk about dressing up when you want to feel sexy and you want to be a woman, and Vanessa's laughing.
Yeah, no, it's funny. It's that crazy dichotomy of I'm living in gym clothes, and then when I'm like even going out to run errands, sometimes I find myself in like a pencil skirt and a leather shirt, or because I'm just excited to like wear normal clothes. So it's funny how I take any chance I can get to just feel normal again and not be sweaty and not be.
But you still, it's funny. I see you guys lifting, and I'm like, wow, her nails look great. How does she do that?
Well, that's the one thing I wish I had was my nails done. I don't do that because I do jujitsu and I do other martial arts forms where I really can't have nails. You can't grip onto anything.
You can scratch them.
So, I could scratch.
Yeah.
That'd be a different
or you
form of fighting, right?
So
that's the one thing I don't have is the nice nails. But there are some girls that are strictly figure competitors that have the nice nails, and they're just,
I don't know how to
pumping
do that.
iron with great hands. But
and also eating. Because again, everything goes back into fitness training and movies. The Rock trains heavily.
Well, that's the toughest part is actually more than anything else is the diet. And especially being a mom in the diet, because my daughter's at the age now where she's toddler age and she's really picky about what she's eating. And as much as I try to, push the healthy foods in front of her, it's like they always default to they want the mac and cheese. And it's like now I go to Trader Joe's to buy the healthier version of mac and cheese, but it's still mac and cheese and I can't eat it. So I have, her snacks in the cupboard and my meals are already prepared. So I do meal preps on Sundays. So I grill everything, turkey, chicken, lean meat, all my vegetables, and then I prepackage them for the first 4 days of the week. So my diet's pretty strict. And then as I'm cooking dinner for him and her, I'm just drooling. I'm standing over that stove. Like
you mentioned that. I used to bring carrots and celery to screenings all the time.
Carrots.
Because, we're sitting watching movies all the time. I can just see me gaining weight in the chair while I'm watching a movie, unfortunately.
Yeah. Vegging out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanessa,
the tough part.
you got something coming up.
Yes. Again, like all the million little things that I get myself involved with. Sitting at home, I'm a mother also. 2 babies. I got a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old. So I thank God I'm a stay-home mother. But I have crazy brain that goes a million miles an hour. So, when you're stuck there and you're just, you're used to being active and you're there, you know, I get bored very easily. You know, I get done. I do some painting. I'm like, what can I do next? Oh, I'll start making jewelry. I'll start painting purses. So I've decided that I needed to do something big and do something that just off the wall. And it came out of my frustration of basically being on the internet. You know, I was trying to play matchmaker for a friend. And I thought, well, I don't want to get on a dating site and asking around. You don't get that much results and this and that. So I thought, well, what if I, kind of fish through social network? And it was very difficult to do things like going with astrology. You know, I do believe that the signs do match. I mean, not always, but I do believe that, that does play a part, and a lot of people do go with that. So, but trying to do that and trying to match activities and trying to match ages and things, I'm trying to get people, it was basically almost impossible to do it. And that's kind of what started this idea of an app, that I wanted to figure out a new way to browse the internet, a new way to look through social networking, basically the same way you would be talking to somebody and asking them. Basically the same type of conversation. Hey, do you have someone who's kind of like this, like that? I wanted to take all of those things and put it together in a comfortable, personal way that I can do anywhere and anytime. And it wasn't just that. It was also too, I'm really involved with parties. I love to entertain. I do a lot of cooking and, but again, those side of jobs come from people who know me or ask, but there's a lot of other people that don't know, so when somebody talks to me, when I start rambling on about everything that I do, it's their face is like, what? So, it almost becomes exhausting trying to explain it.
Yeah, to simplify things, and even then they're never going to understand it.
Yeah, and nobody's going to remember.
Yeah, and an idea, we have to do the same thing. You watch movies for a living, pretty much, and talk about them.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, yeah, but there's so much more work behind it. We barely get any rest.
I know.
There's
you don't
so
got to
many
tell
things.
me.
Well, here now these days, everybody does more than one thing. You just do.
Yeah.
You do to survive and raise, and especially single mothers. Well, there's just you have to be able to be multitasking.
And with this day and age, with as much accessibility as we have, there's no excuse not to. It's required at this point to be able to be multi-talented in everything. Besides, if you don't know how to do it, thankfully we have the internet and you can just learn. Most of the best editors out there are self-taught.
Exactly. And then there's a lot of people who, either they were 16, 17, while they were in college, they took on jobs. Maybe somebody took on a little bit of carpentry, or they were bartending, or they did some waitressing, or they did things like this. And maybe at this point in their life, they don't do it anymore, but they have those skills and they have that past. But let's say they're struggling. Like, I need to pull in some extra money. Well, that's where the concept of JobLink came in. It was this idea that I went with my struggles of, one, the million things that I do, and then all the people that I meet, all these amazing people that are just gifted. Maybe they have one job, but they're also brilliant at something else.
Yep.
And you don't know that unless you personally meet them, unless you personally have this conversation, or And so my thought with this was there needs to be a different way. I started to build my website. And as I was creating my website, I started thinking, how is everybody going to know my website?
The best way, you just make cards.
Yeah.
Right, to get people to know. And that's the best way to do it, is like your app is exactly this situation. But it's funny, you have to use cards to first pass around.
Yeah, I did. I just pulled up some cards.
Yeah, I saw them. They're amazing. They're great.
Yeah, we just made some cards. But JobLink is basically your word of mouth. It's a new way to advertise yourself. It's putting yourself out there and saying, look, I'm dedicated to this job, but I have another page that's dedicated to this that I do. So you have the ability to pull in other jobs. So maybe you work, 4 days a week and you sell clothes at a store. You do this and that, and you're like, God, I need to pull in some more money, but you bartended years ago. You can have another page dedicated to your bartending. That people maybe look up and go, God, I'm having a party in Santa Monica, and I have all these people that are really involved with bike riding, and they're all fitness people. I really want to find a cool bartender that is going to kind of hit it off with everybody.
And we're going to come back with bartender. Okay. I like that thought. This is Brian Sebastian. You're listening to Movie Reviews and More. We'll be right back. All right, it's Brian Sebastian. We are live with Movie Reviews and More on Adrenaline Radio. Studio hotline number is 800-405-6425. 800-405-6425. We have Angela here. We have Vanessa here. We have Victor and myself. And we were talking about, I love this, bartender.
You were explaining a little bit more about your app and how it's going to make everyone's lives easier on a professional level. Yes. And I think that's the best thing. And now everyone wants to come out social media. How can we talk with each other, show my kid's birthday? That's enough. We have about 2 or 3 of them. We don't need any more. We need some more professional settings here.
Exactly.
And I love the idea, the concept of it, because you don't know too much about me and my personal things. And I have way too many jobs that I do to fit on one business card. And not everyone can get that business card. It's about who I meet in person.
Yes.
Right? So having your app would be amazing, because they would just look up my name and they'll be able to see all my pages connected. Oh, I didn't know he can edit. I didn't know he can, action choreographer, stunt coordinator. I didn't know he can write, and all these extra things that you don't really want to, because there are a lot of people out there who are kind of shy. They don't want to go off, oh, I'm big fancy, I do all this, I do all that. They're meek. They like to keep to themselves. You would never know he's secretly a carpenter, secretly a painter, and this
exactly.
app.
And
you never know about anybody until you actually sit down and get to talk to them. And what you're talking about is having those additional pages, right?
Exactly. It's basically you're having this conversation with the internet, telling everybody, I do this and this and that, without you having to go out there and tell everybody all these things. It's right there.
You'd have to imagine the greatness of this, and the idea that, you have a business card and you have all the little list of, most people don't want to look at that. Instead, imagine just having one straight address line that they can,
exactly
go to, and everything's for you there.
Well, I've had that. That's what's happened to me many times, where I've met somebody and they go, oh, I'm I don't know, I'm a surgeon. Oh, okay, that's amazing. Oh, but you know what? I had a couple charities. I'm really involved with this, and we do that. But I don't know that until I have that conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then when I have a friend who's she's an amazing plastic surgeon, but what she does is she dedicates her work and her time to helping people in third world countries that can't afford it. Women have had mastectomies and they cannot afford to have breast reconstruction. Children that have had injuries. She does this more like a volunteer work. And if I was to just say, oh, she's a plastic surgeon, you think one thing, but then to know that all of a sudden, if she has a page that's completely dedicated to her work, and I'm seeing pictures and I realize, my God, she's actually involved with all these other countries, with all these other charities where you can link and see these things that otherwise you really wouldn't know. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I realize with a lot of people is everybody does more than one thing. And like that, it's either if you start telling somebody, it kind of after a while just they lose interest.
Yeah, it's too much.
Or
to
you
say.
forget.
So what's going to happen with this, and when's it coming out?
We are launching in 16 days.
Okay.
So you can get on. We are finishing up. There's some details that I wanted to change, and I decided to hold off launch until these things were changed. You can actually right now get on joblink.com, and it spells like Jaws, J-A-W-B, joblink.com. And we have a page right there, and there is a countdown to launch. So you can sign in, and you can give up your email and your name, and we will send you an invite as soon as it is ready to launch. Now, Joblink is the pre-made template. That is the one that's your self-advertising, your word of mouth. This is also going to be amazing for students. And that's the other thing, too, that is a lot of kids, a lot of people that I know, they go and spend years in college, spend a lot of money, their education, and then they get out and they don't know how to find a job. It's difficult. So the gearing of JobLink is also to help students sit there and market themselves. I major in business. I'm really involved with this. I've done, internships here. I've done things like this so that companies can now zero in. And let's say they go to Pepperdine and they want to sit there and they look at a student under business. They go, look, we want to get somebody fresh in this. And we want to maybe they're geared toward environmental. So with the keywords, which is another huge thing on JobLink, is you're going to just add keywords, everything. So you can have a student saying, environmental issues, animals, ocean, this. They're also involved with sports and activities. They, that when a company's looking at it, they can sit there and go, this is exactly the person we want. They're involved with all these different things. There's all these just keywords that describe you. And that's going to be the great thing about JobLink for anybody and everybody, because we've all had that moment where you meet somebody, you've had a conversation, you walk away and oh, God, I can't remember their name. Or what was the name of the business? Or, oh, I lost that business card. But with this, it is going to be able to go through and search all social media. So let's say the person has a Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Facebook account, and they throw a post, and let's say you remember vaguely in that conversation, God, I remember they love to bike ride. They're really into cycling on the weekends. But it was this amazing attorney. He had a great personality. You were looking for an attorney, but you just couldn't remember the name, the law firm, the anything. But you remember the city and the bike riding. When you type in those keywords, it's going to be able to narrow in and find somebody, because his profile picture of his job is going to be listed as attorney. His activities are going to pull up, which he's probably posted pictures and things about bike riding, the city and everything, and you're going to be able to narrow down what you're looking for.
All right, this has got to happen in 16 days and counting.
Yes.
All right.
Can't wait.
Now I'm going to link up stuff, since she was talking about the internet. Movies based on internet
Movies
and
based
horses.
on internet and horses?
Remember Sandra Bullock in The Net?
Oh, yeah,
Remember
that's
that,
right.
Net?
Hackers.
One of my favorite
movies as well.
Angelina Jolie. Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was...
Yeah, The Net was good too. Sandra Bullock, she's good.
I was almost surprised you saw Hackers. Interesting.
Hackers.
what's
Oh,
wrong?
the
That's a great
soundtrack. I used to listen to that all the time. I remember, back in the day, that was I think they had Prodigy, what was that song? I was obsessed. I think I choreographed a dance to it for one of our high school performances. Yeah, I really was. I loved that movie,
good.
Hackers.
That's funny.
Well, on that note, let's go ahead and talk about recent movies.
Okay.
There are two, actually, I want to talk about. One, me and Brian, so I don't know if you have guys seen it. Calvary? You remember the film?
Oh, yeah.
Calvary?
Yeah.
A fantastic, beautiful film. It's a beautiful film. Very, very... It's
an Irish movie.
It's a dark comedy in every sense of the light.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy. It's a fantastic film. I adore it from beginning to end. The opening is so powerful. Simple.
Give them a synopsis of what it's about.
Oh, okay. What the film is about is one man, a priest, who is defending himself more at the entire thing. Someone comes to him and tells him, I want to meet you at a certain place. We have something to deal with. And it's like one of those life-altering situations. And he tells him, I'll give you a week to prepare till you meet me down by the coast. And he knows, in a way, because they're in a confessional booth, and as soon as the film opens, he knows who it is. In a sense, he doesn't really know. He's kind of second guessing himself. It's a risky situation, but he's going to go down and meet this man. He's preparing this entire time, and he's dealing with the townsfolk and how they treat him, and how their views on religion and their views on the priesthood, and how they get the bad rap for just being priests. And the guys it's a great, great film. It's a dark comedy. It's a fantastic movie. I can't say enough about it. I absolutely adore the film. I want to watch it again and again and again. It deals with so many things of my favorite subject. It's a great movie.
And one we just caught up with last night because we had missed it. We've been busy doing so many things, and that was the movie on James Brown, Get On Up.
Get On Up.
Oh, I want to.
Have you guys seen it yet?
It's on my list.
Talk about one of the
I love James Brown. Love funk music. Would love to see. It's what they do.
There was a
biopic
moment.
Well,
it's like a, what would you say it is? It's
I would say it's exhilarating. It's an enthusiastic, exciting,
It's a
and
biopic,
emotional film
right.
to see. The 4 E's.
It is, but the performance is so. And there's a point in the film, I think it's in the beginning and at the end, where he's walking down the hallway. And I swear
He looks
to
like
you,
him.
He looks.
I swear
Victor
he's
mentioned.
singing it.
He walks like him. I could have sworn they were using actual footage of James Brown. That's how amazing the effect
That's
was on that.
incredible.
Wow.
I want to see that movie.
The guy's performance is stunning. When he's walking, when he's talking, his mannerisms, when he's moving, the dance, everything is flawless.
Was it anything like the Temptations where they had they
Yes.
went back and back, they
Yes.
went back and it was
I love
future
that
and then
movie
it was
too.
for present and then
Oh,
past and then
that was an excellent movie
I love
also.
the Temptations. That was
Get
good.
On Up is one of those movies that you absolutely have to go out and watch watch it again and again and support it and push it
And
around.
being mothers and not having a lot of time again, catching up with stuff. You guys seen Galaxies?
Oh yeah, well,
Guardians
you
of
haven't
the
seen
Galaxy yet?
Guardians of the Galaxy. Mm.
Really?
Honestly, I think I live and breathe the baby channel day and night. Exactly. I mean, seriously, I find myself in bed watching it until 20 minutes. Oh my God, I got to change the channel. I'll sit there and I'm watching, the little,
And you're alone, right?
Yo
this
Gabba
happens.
Gabba. And I'm just like,
This happens. And you realize you put them to bed an hour ago and it's still on.
It's happened to me too. I've raised lots of children, and I
It has
have
not
on.
happened to me, and it's not
Really?
going to happen to me.
I'll go to sleep and I'll wake up to it. It'll stay on all night. At late night, it plays great music and it puts people to sleep.
yeah, that's what I go to sleep to.
Yeah.
The little, that sand painting thing that they do.
I do love that. I enjoy that.
I just sit there and watch.
Angela, we jumped on you last week for favorite movies and movies that inspired you, movies that made you cry. What did you talk about last week?
Movies. Let's see. Movies that made me cry. I do love a lot of romantic movies, or let's think. I told you I was excited to see The Giver.
That's right.
Lois Lowry. Another movie that made me cry Great Expectations. That was one that I loved. Let's see what else made me cry. God, Pretty Woman made me cry. I don't know. A lot of movies make me.
I was going to say that.
I'm easy to show emotion when it comes to a movie. There's a lot of historical movies that made me cry. I think it was Schindler's List.
Now, what inspired you?
What inspired me to go into fitness?
Yeah,
or just,
movies that inspired you in general.
Movies that inspired me. Well, I was a figure skater growing up, so I really liked a lot, like The Cutting Edge.
Cutting Edge.
I'm not going to lie, I used to play that on repeat.
That was
The Cutting Edge, and then I'd step on ice, and I thought I was, in the film. So that was one that was, inspiring to me. I'm trying to think of another thing. A lot of times it's not really movies that are related to what I'm doing that I draw inspiration from, but I was a literature major in college, so I watched a lot of, historical movies to evoke emotion, like I mentioned, Schindler's List, or things that I like to watch a lot of History Channel.
I love History Channel.
I do. I have an appreciation for it. I love that show.
Oh, I love it too.
I love it. So it's one of those things where sometimes what I'm watching it's totally unrelated to what I'm doing, and I kind of like to have that separation sometimes.
You didn't know I was half alien, did you?
I had a feeling, but Ancient Aliens, I'm stuck on that channel, and watching shows like that. I love that. But I don't know. There's a lot of I grew up watching a lot of different movies. My mom used to have the card catalog with all of our movies, and she'd record them.
Oh wow!
Off TV, yeah. So a lot of '90s movies, I guess. I used to love Breakfast Club or Pretty in Pink.
John Hughes. You're a John Hughes fan.
Yeah, John Hughes.
Yeah.
I hear the music coming back up.
That's
here it comes.
Vanessa, you're not getting out of this. When we come back, we're gonna find out what you like, what made you cry,
what
movies
movies
made you cry, what inspired you. And this is Brian Sebastian. You're listening to Movie Reviews and More live on Adrenaline Radio, and we'll be right back. All right, this is Brian Sebastian. The number is 800-405-6425. 800-405-6425. Angela, Vanessa, Victor Garcia. We were just talking about movies, and now it's time to see what Vanessa wanted. What kind of movies made her cry?
Vanessa
what inspired her?
What do I want?
When you were out running the streets of Malibu or whatever the case may be.
When you're inventing, what do you...
Yeah, exactly. What movies did you like? What made you cry first?
Oh, God. Definitely What Dreams May Come from the amazing.
Excellent.
Great
amazing
movie.
You know what's strange? I was just thinking about that film right now when you said, I don't know why. I had that in my head. The image of him walking with the dog just got to me.
That movie just, I sob like there's no tomorrow. And I do it every time I see it. It's
art.
So deep, and it's so art, and it is. It encompasses so many emotions that it's just brilliant.
The great thing about that movie is you could pause it at any minute. It's like a portrait.
Oh, God, yeah.
That is my favorite Robin Williams movie.
Absolutely.
I love that movie.
That one and actually The Fisher King. That one got under my skin too. The whole concept of that and the whole thing that you have no idea what people are dealing with. You have no idea, especially with homeless people. That's the part that really gets me, is you don't know what's happened in their life. There's a lot of traumas out there, and I sit there and go, how do people come out of this? People who lose their entire family. Yeah. How do you not go crazy? How do you go? And you have no idea what the story of all these people are.
That's right.
So that movie, to me, really hit a chord, because I think they really got deep. And a lot of people found it dark, or a lot of people didn't get it, but I saw the entire concept of that. And that movie that one was really an amazing movie. Probably some of my favorite movies. I know my husband laughs at me because I see him like over and over and over again. I know that.
Yeah, but whatever it is, it's your movie.
Yeah.
Return to Oz.
Really?
Interesting.
It's something about that fantasy la world she goes into. Because
is that the live action one?
No, it's an old one. It was just Return to Oz. It was what's her name? God, what was her? I forgot her name.
There was a second live action.
You're talking about Michelle Leah, the one that just came out, Return to Oz?
No, the old one. I think it was from the 80s. I think.
Oh yeah.
I just loved it. I love the visual on it and the fantasy of it. Another big one for me is Modigliani.
wow.
That one I've seen a million times. I love that one. That one makes me cry a lot too, along with especially Immortal Beloved. Amadeus, Immortal Beloved, Modigliani.
Amadeus.
Those movies just I get so captivated about getting into the mind of these artists and these amazing, brilliant people that they suffered, and that's what actually made them these amazing, brilliant artists, was the pain and suffering that they dealt with their own in lives. That it's
Return
I understand
to Oz
that.
was 1985.
Yeah.
That's the one you were talking about.
That was what's that actress?
Balk.
Yes, that was her movie debut.
Yeah.
But
it
it's such
was a live action, correct? That's the one where the Tin Man was a little chubby, circular. bronze.
Yeah.
That's the film. Yeah,
See, he saw it.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I watched that film a lot as well.
But it's just the whole thing. I loved it when they went to the mountain and the rocks
it's a great
moving
film.
and everything. It was just, I think it was actually ahead of its time when it came to the visual and
See,
everything.
that's your imagination part of your brain working.
Yeah.
That's where I think we all are, which is interesting.
That's
Horse movies. We can't get out of here without a horse whisper.
The Horse Whisperer, still one of my
Black
big
Stallion.
The Black Stallion. Oh, that one, that horse, that movie. It was also another visually stunning, beautiful. Just the part, almost the half the movie when they were stranded on the ocean, the beach.
Oh, okay.
Just
you
the
could
way
go
they
into the
captured it.
Marx Brothers, The Day at the Races.
Day at the Races. It's a fantastic film. Funny, one of the best ones they have.
Yep.
I have multiple copies of that film.
Yeah.
Actually, anything Marx Brothers, I have multiple copies of DVD, VHS, and as far back as you can remember. You don't get me started on that. That's start of a whole nother show. I'm serious. I'm serious.
Collection items.
Well, let's talk about something very particular that's actually been concerning me recently as mothers. And this isn't about the stuff that people would think. When I go into a movie theater and I see babies, it absolutely infuriates me. And not because they're going to cry, but because no one thinks of the damaging sound to these infants' ears. I hear sounds that in theaters like, oh my God, that's loud for me and the baby. Just imagine the irreparable damage done to their little ear canals. Yeah. And I absolutely am frustrated beyond all means that when people bring, I think there should be an age limit in theaters for damage to the ear. So as mothers, I mean, how do you, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't take them. I haven't even been to the theaters for a long time, but being pregnant, that was the last time I went to the movie theaters, was almost 3 years ago while I was pregnant. And I remember the intensity of the sound and the ding, and I actually started to feel nervous over the baby. And because I thought
she gets the vibrations of that.
It was
especially
too
in the fluid.
Yes. Yeah. So I thought, this isn't, I think this is something that actually just happened the other day, which really irritated me, was the clips of scary movies coming out. They do not hold back, and they show really graphic, horrible images. And you have your child sitting there, and I found my son just like captivated looking at us. And I went, "Oh my God!" And I, jumped into the playpen. But and it was some movie coming out, and God, even I get scared. I'll have nightmares over some of these clips because I'm not a scary movie type person, And the thing is then I go, I don't want my children to see this. There should be some sort of parental control ability, because it's just on basic TV. You're watching any channel and the commercial comes on.
Meanwhile, Angela, you watched one at age 5. You did. What was the movie at age 5, right?
That I saw myself?
Yep.
Oh gosh, I can't remember which one are we
were talking about last week. The one that you
wasn't that?
It was a horror movie, wasn't it?
No, that was.
Oh no, it was Stephanie.
I was thinking,
I as well. I watched.
I probably remember. I did. Well, I have seen Carrie before. I don't know if I was. I definitely wasn't 5, but that was a scary movie I saw. But they do have matinees at the theater that are tailored to mothers and bringing kids in where they lower the volume.
Really?
Yeah, so there are special show times that you can bring your children to.
Well, that's fantastic.
And they do. They're very accommodating, I think, nowadays.
I think bravo. I'm going to start telling everyone about that because
I know the Grove had them because I would see them in the strollers. I'm like, what are these people doing here with the strollers?
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I think if you're going to bring your kid to a nighttime or a later movie, I think it's just there's that level of respect too if your kid's going to make noise for the audience as well. I mean, yes, their ears being sensitive and everything else, but it's find the time, pick the place. There's a time and a place for everything. So bring your child to one of the matinees that are specifically for bringing children and little ones to.
All right, we're going to go back into what's out now, what's playing that people might not have caught up with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Which I haven't caught up with yet.
So
and that's his favorite of his.
I know, I'm killing myself. I have to see it before I leave.
And you like The Giver. You want to
I
go
wanna
see The Giver. So you're going to go see it, right?
We're going to go see it.
I still
by
like
myself,
Expendables
actually.
3.
Everyone
Well, yeah,
loves the
if you have to,
Expendables.
go by yourself.
I'll go, I actually do.
You
I
can
usually go
use
by
the time.
myself, or I do.
I do that all the
take
time.
Take my own movie, myself to a movie. So.
You know, there's the 100-foot journey that Debbie was talking about last week. There's Into the Storm, which is still out there playing.
I'm
There's
iffy.
Lucy is still playing.
Lucy,
out
I
there.
want to go see. I think people were saying that they went a little too far with Lucy, but I want to see
And
it.
you know, and the
I
whole
kinda
thing
do
about
too.
that, it's hard to catch up with so many movies being in Los Angeles. They just
the
come
price.
out and they come out and they come out, and then you got to go and find them half the time. That's why we admire Debbie. You know, at the beginning of the segment, giving what's coming out because it's important. What's coming out,
We
and
need
then
that.
those holdovers because we do need those things like that.
What else is out? Is
You know,
Dawn
you
still
know,
out?
the Woody Allen movie is still out.
Oh,
there.
Magic in the
in the Moonlight.
Oh, anything Willie Allen, everyone's got to go see. The man's a flawless writer. Are you kidding me?
You got a competition coming up real soon.
I do.
Oh, that's
Talk about that.
Yeah,
quickly.
we have a competition. We're about 8 weeks out. So I'm a little bit behind in my training schedule.
Uh-oh.
So I've started this new food plan, and it's pretty intense right now. And I just started doing my lifting, so things are getting kind of crazy for being 8 weeks out. You know, so I'm trying to build right now, put on a little bit of weight, a little bit of muscle, a little bit of mass.
No, you look good.
I need to start filling up a little bit, feeding those muscles, taking a lot of protein, and then I start to add a little bit more cardio in towards the end, and
I want to go see that show.
lean out, and yeah, it's exciting.
You know,
What's the name of the show?
You never hear that with
The
women.
show, yeah, I
trying
know.
to bulk up.
I'm trying to build some mass. The show I picked an organization that I was really excited about. It's called the World Beauty Fitness and Fashion, WBFF. So for them, it's fun because you get to have fashion involved. So you get to pick your own heels and
Wow.
and bikini wear and theme wear. We have a theme wear round, so you could do like a Maleficent theme if you wanted
Oh,
to,
wow.
where you're all blinged out in your nice little bikini, and then you have the crazy horns or wings. A lot of girls go for the Victoria's Secret runway theme, so they get very extravagant, upwards of thousands of dollars on these wings, and
Wow.
and so people go all out. It's really fun. That's why I picked that particular organization to compete with. But so it's fun because last time I did bikini and I did fitness diva. So two different categories. They look for different things like symmetry, or sometimes for bikini round they want you a little softer. So I competed and walked the stage twice, and I came in a little bit too hard for bikini. So that's why this time I'm just focusing on the fitness diva, which is between bikini and figure. So figure's where you get the most muscle and you get a little bit bigger. I'm kind of going to be sitting right in between. So I'm excited to wear the theme wear. I'm excited that I have a sponsor this time around and a coach. So I'm kind of doing it the right way.
Vanessa?
But yeah, very exciting.
No, you know what's funny is remember we were talking about the woman who actually kind of started the whole fitness thing.
Oh,
What was her
yes.
name? Raquel.
McLeish.
Yes.
Ah, beautiful.
God,
Loved her.
I know. I remember when I was little, I was like, oh man, I wanted to work out. She was my idol. I used to be really not like this, but I was.
Oh, she's super fit. Look at her. Those two kids must have you working.
See, I
You
like
look
Tammy
great,
Lee
Vanessa.
Webb. I was like into Buns of Steels and the Abs of
Buns of
Steels
Steel,
and all
yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah.
I love that.
I remember. You remember Kalinetics?
Oh, yeah.
You guys ever see that?
Yeah.
That woman? And I remember my mother was, this woman. And I remember I tried doing that video once. I didn't make it through. It was like 10 minutes in, you're like, oh my God, how does this woman do this? And she was like in her 60s or something. It was unbelievable.
But we are ending the show. But before we go, just quickly, if you want to go ahead and say what movie you are both looking forward to coming out, or that you really want to see,
Right.
and where we can actually find you. Anyone back home can actually find you.
Okay, so we're going to go see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles this
TMNT
weekend.
is yours.
For sure. And then you can find me, Angela Ellefson, on Facebook. Also on Instagram, I'm Angela_FitBliss, FITBLISS. And I'll be starting a YouTube channel coming up in the next couple months
Fantastic.
after my show. That's my next focus. So a lot of mommy workouts, things you can do at the beach, the park. So look forward to
Great.
following me there.
That's
Vanessa,
amazing.
real quick.
Definitely The Expendables.
Fantastic.
There you go.
Absolute. Everybody in that cast is.
And how do
I'm a
we
huge
find
fan.
you? And you remember to
Job link, you can go right now onto joblink.com, sign up, and we're going to send you an invite. Browse link will be out roughly in about a week or so. You
remember,
can find me
folks,
there and contact me there.
Job Link is spelled JAWBLINK.
Just think of a shark. That's going to be our logo. Shark in a suit.
Fantastic. Everyone go see Calvary.
Shark in a suit.
Calvary.
And go get on up.
Yeah, get on up in
Get
Calvary.
on up.
And this
Yeah.
is Brian Sebastian for Victor, Angela, and Vanessa.
All right, thank
This
you,
is
guys.
Movie Reviews and More. We'll see you next week.